Hello, everybody. This is Fernando for the latest Godzilla Recommends podcast. Another item that I've come across these past couple of days that I wanted to share with you. Highly recommended. This is something that I'm very interested in, and it has to do with the Facebook page that Todd McFarlane has, which I'll include a link below. And the reason why I'm recommending this is because recently he's been going on like a bit of a visual trip through his own history where he chronicles a lot of important stuff that's happened when he was in Marvel, and then subsequently when he helped create Image, and then finally his work with Spawn and the franchise tied to it. So he's gone on like this visual history where he posts these long posts, not just like little soundbite type things, but instead he seems to be dedicating his Facebook page to posting long posts about his life, about his history, about his advice that he gives based on all of the days that he's done in the comic book world. Very fascinating stuff. It's like pulling behind the curtain and then seeing the world behind what it takes to make comic books, what it takes to make statues, the inner worlds essentially of the comic book field. I'm a huge fan of Todd McFarlane ever since I was a youngster, and I saw his first work in Spider-Man. Anybody who was a fan of comic books during the late 90s or so knew about the work that Todd McFarlane had in the Image days, and I was able to catch up on his work later on in the Spider-Man world. Huge fan of the revolutionary stuff that he did in Spider-Man, and basically it's him, what he did there, that catapulted Spider-Man into becoming the flagship character that it is today. I argue that. I mean, there are probably some others that would say there's other eras that Spider-Man had that made him popular as he is today. But if we're talking about recent history, definitely Todd McFarlane had a big impact on that. And then also with regards to his influence, and then jumping into the world of a whole new comic book publisher in terms of Image Comics. I mean, that was brand new. Looking at it now with today's viewpoint and looking back, he really did have a big set of cojones to do this. I mean, he was leaving what would have been a very lucrative field in Marvel. I mean, he could have been somebody that just made a career out of staying with Marvel, and to this day would have been still very popular. But no, he decided to create a whole new character, build a franchise around this character in terms of Spawn, and not only that, but do it with a whole new publisher, a whole new company that he helped create with some of the other Image founders. That is risk. That is something where it's risk versus reward, and in his case, he is rewarded because of that. And also, he's apparently doing all this on his Facebook page because it's coming out that 250th anniversary issue of Spawn is just around here. Great stuff. A very long tenure. It just goes to show again, with his dedication. Once he decided to leave Marvel and he decided to stay with Image, he stayed. He did not go back. He did not do any other work tied to Marvel in terms of a whole bunch of other issues or going back to Spider-Man. Not like a lot of the other Image founders who later went back to the DC and Marvel world. No, he stuck to his guts, for better or for worse. He was there in Image and he stayed. And just like him and Eric Larson with Savage Dragon, they are both celebrating big, huge milestones. 250 issues. That is big. I don't know if you get the context of it, but nowhere right now in any of the other comic book independent publishing world do we have somebody reaching 250 issues like this. I mean, sure, there's The Walking Dead as another example, and of course several of the DC and Marvel comics before they rebooted a bunch of stuff were reaching into the multi-hundreds. But we're talking about an independent publisher, somebody who stuck to his guns and still to this day continues to publish Spawn. So very fascinating stuff. Check out the link when you have a chance. Like this link on Facebook, this community page that he has, because he's been providing some really good resource, some really good history into Spawn, how he came about. He posts pictures as well of some of the earliest Spawn creation, concept art type stuff. I mean, this is, in one case he posted a picture of the very first thing that he did with Spawn the day he left Marvel. I mean, that's about as early as it gets. How cool is that? I mean, that, to think that this drawing that he did, that he posted on Facebook, would later become like a multi-million-dollar franchise. Not really quite as powerful as it was back in the 90s, but still, to some effect, it's still there. But to think that all of it culminated from one picture, great stuff. Plus, he offers some really good advice. You know, he takes all his downfalls that he's had and he uses it as try to give resource and advice and information to the youngsters out there. That way, he says, probably one of the key things that I took from him was anything involving success comes from failure. It comes from trying, or as he calls it, practice. He especially notes criticism. He says anybody who criticizes you, take that criticism and use it to your advantage. You're being criticized for a reason. It's because from your own set of eyes, you're not seeing something you're doing wrong. Others are, so that's free advice. And that's the way he seems to culminate his information. Check out the link when you have a chance, and again, like him on Facebook. It's really cool. I don't know if this is like a revelation for him or something, but he seems to especially have taken on a new venture when it comes to his Facebook community page, where before he seemed to be a little bit more guarded, but now he seems to really be opening up with all this great information. So straight from him directly. He doesn't use any kind of, as far as I can tell, like any other secretary or someone else that does and monitors his Facebook page for him. No, this is him. And especially he seems to, I think, like if you message him, then he'll respond back as well. So great stuff. If you're a comic book fan, especially somebody from the 90s, this is for you. Check it out when you have a chance. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.